You're listening to On Top of the World. This is Radio on Purpose. Christopher Storer here along with Mr. David Webb, bringing you what my mom calls the greatest show on earth. Now, Brett Huber will be here in just a second. We're going to be talking about Proposition 2. I'd love to hear from you at 299-7653. Text in as you hear Brett and I talking and discussing this ballot measure. If you've got any questions specific for Brett, or if you yourself have an opinion, pro or con Prop 2, we'd like to hear from you. Text in right now at 299-7653. Brett Huber, welcome to the show.
Chris, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity today.
So I want to read from a relatively recent article, I believe, from the ADN. The League of Women Voters of Alaska encourages voters to vote for ballot Proposition 2, ballot measure 2, and they in fact say it will strengthen democracy. You disagree with that? Why?
I do disagree with that. And I think it's important to note that the League of Women Voters is an important organization. It's a statewide organization. There are chapters from around the state. The Anchorage League of Women Voters was actually on the other side of this issue, but as a whole, the group has come out in support of the issue. Our group is just Alaskans from around the state, 33 co-chairs, Chris. They look like Alaska. They're all political persuasions, walks of lives, ethnicity, background. They look like the big, great melting pot of diversity Alaska is. So we've come together because we believe that ballot measure 2 is unfair, it's undemocratic, and it's unnecessary. And there couldn't be a worse time in the world to think about trying a failed election experiment from the lower 48, cobbling it all together and being lab rats in Alaska for outside billionaires that are funding this proposal, Chris.
But, Brett, I have to push back on you because I heard a commercial earlier today, and it said Prop 2 would keep out dark money, and that sounds dangerous and scary. So what about the dark money?
So let's talk about dark money, and thank you for that question. So the proponents of this measure have said in public multiple times that their internal polling says 81% of Alaskans don't like dark money. So that's all they're talking about. Now, the little secret behind dark money that they're not talking about is the fact that they exempt themselves and all future ballot measures from any change in reporting requirements. So these same billionaires can come back in 2 years and buy the next piece of Alaska. The other piece about dark money that's just, it's crazy to me, Chris. It's hypocrisy on steroids. So this organization has over almost $7 million of money from outside. They've got $20,000 from Alaska. We're a rounding error in this campaign from the proponent's perspective. So it wouldn't change any federal rules. So the same ads that you're seeing bombing the state now for Al Gross or against Al Gross, for Dan Sullivan or against Dan Sullivan, all of those things would continue, right? It doesn't change dark money. They've created this dark money bugaboo, and they're talking to Alaskans about saying yes to make dark money go away. In fact, one of their major funders, Catherine Murdoch, billionaire from New York, is not only supporting this issue to change our elections, to buy our elections, but she's supporting groups that are spending dark money in Alaska right now and in Maine right now, where ranked choice voting is already in place. It really is the ultimate in hypocrisy.
Talking here with Brett Huber, we're discussing Proposition 2, ballot measure 2, and it's I don't know, I could be wrong, but I want to say it's about a 25 page proposition. It's doubtful anybody's going to have a complete understanding of it, or could even do what I'm about to ask you, Brett, but I'm asking you to do it anyway. Could you please boil down what you see the effect? What will the effect be on Alaska if you could put it in a bumper sticker quote of if we pass Prop 2, what do you see happening?
I see Alaskans having less choice, less voice, and dangerously uncertain results. So ranked choice voting's been tried in one state, Maine. It was promised in Maine, this is going to make your elections friendlier and your advertising go away. They're right now in the most expensive race ever, $300 million for a Senate seat in Maine. And it's the nastiest one ever, according to the Maine press. So this doesn't provide the fix that it's being claimed. What it does, Chris, the most dangerous thing in our mind, is it makes your vote and my vote, instead of co-equal, instead of the same, all the Alaskans that are standing in line for their early voting, they know they're standing in line with Alaskans whose votes equal to theirs. After this proposition passes, if it would, that's not the case anymore. Some Alaskans' votes will matter more than others. Some won't matter at all. And we just think that that is absolutely anti-Alaskan, anti-American, and the wrong thing to do.
Okay, Brett Huber, the commercial says, though, and there's a tremendous amount of money spent on these ads for Prop 2. The commercial says, hey, well, okay, wait a minute. They're out of Roquefort, we'll get the blue cheese. Oh, they're out of the blue cheese, get the feta. Oh, they're out of the feta, get the blah, blah, blah. And so they're put it in such a way that you want these things anyway, but you're just going to have a prioritization. So what's wrong with putting them in some sort of a priority then?
Well, here's what's wrong. In areas that it's been tried, Chris, let's take San Francisco. It's been around there as longer than anywhere else, right? It was tried in a number of other places and repealed almost everywhere that it's been tried, but it exists in San Francisco. So in the 2011 mayoral race in San Francisco, 27% of voters vote did not count toward the outcome. So it's like 55,000 people took the time, went to vote, and their vote didn't matter. Those people don't go back and vote in the next election. If I vote for a winning candidate in their contrived four-way race, and that winning candidate has 46%, and that's the candidate that I've backed, even if I've ranked them or not, my vote just sits there with the winner and waits to see if the three losers can cobble together enough votes to claim victory. On the other hand, it asks Alaskans to vote for people that they might completely disagree with, be completely on the other side of their most important issue, be that healthcare, education, gun rights, whatever it is. You lose your champion, right? So if you pick just your champion and your champion doesn't win and then votes get redistributed, your vote doesn't count. It gets thrown away. They call it an exhausted ballot. It happens up to 3 out of 10 votes, Chris. And that shouldn't be okay with us. We can't have Alaskan votes not matter.
Clearly, though, Brett, enough Alaskans saw somebody standing outside of REI or outside the Sears Mall or downtown Anchorage and where our greater Metroplex, I'm sure this is where majority of the signatures came from, and they read or heard enough to say, yes, I like this, I'll sign me up for this ranked choice voting and get rid of the dark money, all of this. They must have signed enough people into this petition to get it on the ballot. So what do you say to those Alaskans that signed that petition and say, do you think, I'll ask it this way, do you think they didn't have the full picture, or do you think there's enough Alaskans that really understand this and wanted this on the ballot?
So here's what I've learned as I've spent the last 2 months canvassing the state, and what our 33 co-chairs and our volunteer campaign has learned is most Alaskans have never seen the 25-page initiative. In Arkansas and North Dakota, they're trying this same thing for the same reason. We're low population states where it's less expensive to buy an election. And what their Supreme Courts did in both of those states is said, we don't believe that petition signers read the 25 pages and they threw it off the ballot. So when I'm asking people, if you've read the 25 pages, if you believe in this, if this is something you want to try, I respect your opinion, then vote yes. But what we're finding is Alaskans haven't seen the language, Chris. They weren't involved in the discussion. It was written by 3 people. It's based on model legislation on the national level. They're claiming it's an Alaskan issue. Alaskans have not been involved in this discussion. Sure, they're petition signers, but you know as well as I do, most people didn't read 25 pages in the Fred Meyer parking lot before walking in the door. Right. And they spent a ton of money gathering those signatures. It's a factor of money. Again, Chris.
All right. Talking here with Brett Huber on Top of the World. This is Radio on Purpose. And we want to vote on purpose. And we want our vote to count. And I think an educated vote is the only vote that really will count. So, Brett, you've mentioned this billionaire in New York and other wealthy to-do folk that have created this initiative. Who then funded the initiative, and what's the ultimate goal?
So that's a great question. I've been asking it of them at pretty much every place that we've both presented, and we've not received an answer. Why? Why are these? The best they got is, well, we had a great idea and we found these billionaires like venture capitalists. So my response to that is venture capitalists want a return on their investment. Right. What do they want? They don't answer that question. That is the largest unanswered question. Why would billionaires from 4 time zones away be playing around with Alaska's election system when Alaskans clearly aren't supporting it, at least not financially supporting it? $20,000 of $6.8 million, Chris, that tells a huge story.
It does. Yeah. Well, very good. Brett, thank you. You've educated me, and I'm sure there's 1 or 2 others that were not. I knew that I was against it, but for the reasons that I was uneducated. And so thank you. You've brought me up to speed, and I do not like these kinds of. I do not like green eggs and ham. I don't like putting things like this on the ballot that are so complex and complicated. And I wish that maybe our courts had intervened prior to this. But well, you're doing a great job. You're crisscrossing the state. Brett, just my last question. Are you are you finding people that once you educate them that maybe they were for Prop 2 are now going, well, wait a minute, and they're reconsidering?
So yes, many of them, in fact, and not even people that were for Prop 2, but people that hadn't made up their mind, hadn't heard about it. As people learn about it, as they look into the facts, they become no voters in herds, Chris. Alaskans know better. We've had outside billionaires try to tell us how to run our state before. We're doing okay. We're Alaskans. We have strong opinions. We have diversity. We have diversity in our leadership. If we don't like our leaders, we change them out. But don't blame the electorate. It's not the voters' fault. This is just making it harder and more confusing. And Chris, I really thank you for this opportunity. DefendAlaskaElections.com is our website, and there's much more information there for folks that want to take the time to be educated on the issue.
All right, Brett. Awesome. Thank you for doing this work. We appreciate it.
Chris, thank you so much. It's so important that people become informed. That's the biggest issue. Become informed. Look behind the little flashy ads. Billionaires don't like to lose. They're going to spend a bunch of money trying to trick you. Alaskans, beware.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Have a little faith, I say. Have a little faith, my friend. We got to help each other through thick and thin. These are trying times that we're living in. Have a little faith, I say. Have a little faith, my friend.
Well, I have faith in you. Thank you, Tom, Don, and others are texting in. They appreciated that interview. I did as well. Brett's a good guy and very well informed, and gave me enough to inform me that my instinct to vote no on Prop 2 shall survive. That will be the way I'm voting. Chris Story here along with Mr. David Webb. We've got the Born to Live formula and more to come here from On Top of the World. Stick around.
Have a little faith, my friend. We got to help